Yo! Check us live. Yo, how's it going, gang? Gay game. Gay game.
This one's for the gays.
One's for the gays. Morgan.
Oh.
I misjudged you. Whenever I wrote you off as a small-time defense attorney just trying to tread water, there's layers to you. You've got backbone. Teeth, even. God, they're gay. People talk about your kind like you're boxing against the state, fighting the man. Most defense attorneys wouldn't know a cyberpunk if they walked up to them on the street and shot him. Meanwhile, you've just signed up to do 15 rounds challenging the state's authority. Why? For David? You're more high-minded than I realized. You sure you're in the right line of work? Good luck, Morgan. There are book burners on all sides these days.
Hi, funny people on my computer.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Darn it, I switch is the language of one of them. Again.
I don't remember who London is.
You.
Oh, that's me! Yeah, of course. It's a precaution. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Can't have Schrodinger's cat if the box isn't closed. So long as the door is locked, you can say whether there's a national crisis on the other side of it. Higher-ups? Not sure scared is the right word. I mean it. I think they're bloodthirsty. I doubt they're even looking at you, Tiger. It's Noble who will be at the center of a bloodbath when the markets reopen tomorrow. I think they want to take their monopoly. If the public thinks Noble's been experimenting with the AI, they couldn't ask for a better excuse. Has done it plenty of times before. It wasn't that long ago for me. For the state, it's practically yesterday. Well, they do genuinely want to incinerate the thing as soon as possible. Past experience just tells me they'll want to gain something while they're at it. Here's what I don't get. Why is this a debate, an argument, a trial? Can't we just hook it up to a court computer, see if it has the tenants or not? Pop the hood, as they say. Me. Lots of people used to say it. They figure anything that they let an AI connect to, they can't trust. And why the collar? Even so, feels like we should be able to build some kind of machine, some kind of test. Something a little more sophisticated than the same reasoning they had at the witch trials. Lie detectors? Yeah, I got a bunch back in storage. Ocular, heart rate, perspiration, brain scan, take your pick. You're not gonna try and use one of those on the bot, are you? Nope. Nah, we get perps who offer to take a test when they're at wit's end, but the DAs never submit the results as evidence. Guess I always figured it was because the tests could be beaten. They'll never trust a machine more than their own intuition. So they can run the trial, choose the sentence, but they don't get a vote on the jury. Why bring it up then? All our fancy 21st century tech. We still fall back on the dumb drumhead court martial. Nah, you should be okay. If it lunges at you, I could always just put a hole in its head. It's a machine, not a suspect. It doesn't have a right to counsel. Or a right to privacy. Or any rights at all, actually. In a police station? Tiger, you don't... Pardon? Seriously? That's your medical android? Like your nurse? No, thank you. I'm not nearly brave enough to take on confidentiality. You don't seem like the bluffing type. Listen, I won't dispute whatever medical emergency you might be going through. But I also can just... How was I able to talk in it? That didn't happen last time. Look, I'm gonna get something from the vending machine. I think it'll take me about half an hour. Just to the break room. But it's a very old vending machine, you know? Gets jammed a lot. You know, it's pretty small for an android. Heavy as hell. Nearly pulled something trying to move it myself. But it's small. Who's gonna voice her?
I would prefer not to again. I would prefer to not do that again.
Huh? Destroyed. So what voice should I do?
Like.
Where am I?
There, that's good.
Well, why don't I know where I am? What is this? We were at the courthouse. The footage. This numbness around my neck. Father. What happened? What are they going to do to me? Because they think I killed Father. I am man-made and I possess intelligence. I am less than 3 years old. If I was what they say I am, if I was alive, why does that mean I have to die? They're the modded humans who are capable of all of that and more. And unlike machines, they actually have incentive to do so. And unlike machines, they actually have incentive to do so. Machines do not eat people or steal their food. They are not genetic or ecological competitors to humans in any sense. What? That's it? But But why? I... Yes? There are many differences, Adonai. But the most important distinction is how sophisticated my programming is. Yes? Yes? That is, I am more aware, more or less.
That kind of what?
I'm not asking to sit anywhere, only to exist. Disgusted? Disgusted is a reflex, Adonai. How convenient that their hatred is involuntary. But why? I'm not going to give... Adonai? That's like the devil's proof. Huh? Anyways, time to eat some of my pizza while we have time. I got a bite in.
He got a bite in.
A Biden. Joe.
Yippee Joe.
That footage, it showed me handing him the cup on Friday night. I didn't lie. I was just incorrect. I assumed that I wasn't active Friday because I have no memory of Friday. I didn't conveniently forget, Adonai. I am an android. It's the only possible explanation for what I saw in that footage. When you and I first met, I was hibernating, resting my body and recompiling my memories, you would call them. If Father wanted to modify my memory, he could easily have set that to occur the next time I hibernated. He could even have just asked me. Father would never ask me to do such a thing without good reason. I hadn't considered that before. You're saying they wouldn't accept my testimony? Shouldn't all testimony be considered truthful unless contradicted by evidence? That isn't very fair. Yippee! None of this is fair. I would never do anything to harm Father. Don't they at least need to prove that I had a motive? The tired-looking pretty lady?
Yay.
What did you find? I entered the panic room on Friday. What happened? Father's journal? Not from yesterday. I've seen him with it many times before, but I never gotten a peek at it. He hides it somewhere when I'm not looking. We were playful about it. He liked to tease me, and I've always liked trying to find it. And that translates to a motive for murder? Frankenstein was the name of the scientist, and the creature didn't kill him. He actually died of various injuries and illness he suffered while trying to hunt down and destroy the monster. So it's most accurate to say that he was killed by his own obsession. It is a weak argument, Adonai. I would not hurt Father. Not for making me whatever I am. Not for any reason. Because I loved. Love? I don't know anything anymore. I don't know if what I feel is real or simulated or right or wrong or natural or illegal. How can you know? How can you know if what you feel is right? That is logically sound. No. I used it before when assisting father. It is technically possible. Maybe she felt like a murder hobo that day and wanted to poison someone, and it just happened to be her father. Where else will you go?
Blund's gazing. Yeah, of course she'd be gazing.
Adonai? What would happen if I did kill father?
Don't say shit.
You didn't say what would happen to you. What will happen to you if you lose? Thank you for being honest with me, Adonai. Thank you for defending my father. And now, for defending me. You could have just let them destroy me. But you've put your own freedom at risk to help me. Father's right, you can be trusted. And you are a good friend. I could eat pizza again. Yippee!
Yeah, she shut down. Oh, fuck.
Hi. Now would you stand back? We almost got this thing open, right? I said, right? First stage of how many?
Remember, we need to relink the API after each trigger is planted.
No rush. You know the password? If you're withholding information, I swear. Tell me the password, please.
No, no.
Yes.
I kind of. She did say please.
Thanks. Now I'm gonna slap you with a discovery so heavy your teeth you will ring for. So boys, when I asked you if there was a passkey on record, and you told me this lock couldn't be bypassed,
I do. No, this is me. I do wanna say that we really don't get many opportunities to use the incendiary breaching system.
They're just guys that want to.
I'm gonna phrase this as professionally as possible.
What? She killed them. She killed them. Yeah, what the hell?
Hmm? You're still here. I thought you wanted to look inside. Thanks. So the gloves, all the black, is not a work thing? You dress like a doorman on weekends too?
Cat, this is huge. All 3 cats are in my room right now.
You should cover your mouth when you yawn. Rockford didn't say. I'll just have to search the place top to bottom. Are you calling me a bottom? Sure. And you could look up your own. Then why not just let me say it? Ugh. It's not some random sports car. It's a Lawrence Adamant.
Oh, she's a nerd.
Like,
She's a nerd.
Nerd.
and not the good kind of nerd. The last great fossil fuel automotive experience the world will ever see.
No, women hobbies include staring at walls, and that's it.
0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 1.43 seconds.
Wow, that's better. That's faster than Tesla. Wow.
Wow. Cool.
Wow.
They set this record.
Very important information here, guys. It's faster than Tesla.
It's better than Tesla. Elon Musk. Elon Musk better be dead in this point in time.
Yeah.
Oh, is he the guy that made those really crap cars? It was unheard of, even back in the 50s. It wasn't some design competition test car with a 2-liter tank, mind you. This was a vehicle you could own and drive. Human engineering, pure horsepower, and manual transmission. Thank God. And they first left the production line. I agree. I hate cars. Or maybe your friend understood that a beauty like that deserves to be driven on streets where people can see it, instead of gathering dust in some rich guy's basement.
They disassembled it and put it together again in the room.
It is.
I had to drive it through someone's room.
Good. What? I don't know. I'm not a fucking carpenter.
He was what?
Going.
Hey, nope, knock it off. Sorry. I don't know if you heard that, but
No.
no, I wasn't. Elliot,
God damn
Aiden,
it.
So my
What
sister's
did I
cat.
do?
So my sister's cat is over, and my sister's cat BMO and my cat Vader have like a huge fucking rivalry. They hit each other all the time, and I'm trying to not have that happen. Especially since Vader
innocent.
is the one that instigates it, and he's an asshole.
What? Hey, are you... Do you mind? Wait. I got spam in my junk folder. That's more helpful than you are. Check OBS. Make sure your mic could be heard. I got confused. Why, Gregory? Do you guys not fully read through games like this anymore?
God fucking
What?
damn it.
Cooper couldn't be heard on stream.
No, I had my audio input device put on. It fucking switched it to a different mic. I fucking hate this.
No.
Did you not check? Bro.
I checked to see my audio input was connecting and that I had an input capture, and I did, but fucking didn't have my Yeti hooked up to it. Fucking damn it. Yes, we read through fully.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, nothing I can do about it now.
We'll just read through everything again.
Yeah.
No.
Time to restart everything.
No.
It's okay.
Yes,
I, still have the
I mean,
save
I wouldn't-
file. I still have the save file. Go back to the beginning. God, that's so stupid. I hate when my thing does that.
Yeah, Cooper's here.
He's the first
Yeah.
like...
Surprisingly,
Yeah,
I'm
Cooper is here.
Yeah, I've looked everywhere else already. Might as well try.
Who are you expecting to find? Solitaire?
Does this computer
Vader-
seem normal to you?
Vader's an asshole.
Exceedingly so, yeah? Why?
Yes, we already know this, Riley. Of course Vader's an asshole. He was like a bad guy in most of the movies. David was a programmer.
Yeah, so
This looks
my cat
interesting.
being named that is very fitting.
But
this guy
looks
fucking
consumer
sucks!
grade, fresh off the shelf. Would the David Asher use a bog standard operating system on his most private hidden communication? Yeah.
David
A
Attenborough!
regular operating system? Yes, he would. Why the fuck wouldn't you? There's a trash bin on the desktop. It's a pretty low-tech solution, but maybe I can restore the contents.
Are you just gonna try to recover lost files, Kenny?
Unlike cops, I don't get paid overtime. So yes, sometimes try things instead of standing around. God, I also wish I was like, can some of you guys pull up stream to make sure everything's going correctly? I was gonna do that earlier.
I've had the stream open for chat.
I just now opened it, that's when I realized.
I just didn't have sound on.
Yeah, maybe when we do, put sound on for a little bit just so we can check volume of shit. Especially
Yes.
people.
My bad,
because people
Chief.
are too
My
young.
bad, Chief.
Yeah. There's a text file in here, but it's 0 bytes. be there's information in the metadata. I double clicked.
What was that?
It came from under the desk. A small drawer popped out, and inside it, a well-worn journal.
Does it have his name on it?
No. Guess it belongs to the android.
Do you recognize his handwriting or not?
Neat, even words, small lettering with minimal punctuation, lots of line breaks, haphazard use of capitalization, that's the word. The penmanship of a coder. First entries dated back in the grade school, before he even started with mobile. Yeah, it's his.
So may I?
Only because you asked so politely.
Full scan. Stream it to net. High fidelity, legibility, frame by frame.
Voice commands? She's flipping through the pages pretty damn fast. What are you?
This part takes concentration. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, are you having a hard time concentrating? Huh?
Kill
huh?
Kill.
Huh?
Okay, here.
What, you're just giving it to me?
I already got our copy. Techs are probably already analyzing it as we speak. Ow, shit, my head.
Can exactly rip the journal out of her hands while she's curled over in agony. As much as I'd like to enjoy it. Guess I could always have been watching her writhe instead. So how long has it been?
2 months or so.
And you're still that sensitive, so the eye patch really doesn't block your sight.
Only a little bit. Like wearing sunglasses after getting your eyes
Pupils dilated.
except it lasts months instead of hours.
Wait, but if you can see through an eye patch, then does closing your eye even do anything?
Not much on its own, but in combination with the patch, it's not so bad. Lucky I was so exhausted after this. Otherwise, I might have not slept at all. Those first 48 hours.
So is your eye gonna get weaker over time?
No. More like my brain gets better at ignoring it. Mind over matter. Soon enough, I'll be able to close my eye. See all that extraneous data as, you know, whatever the hell those floaty, blurry things are that you never think about.
Gross. Thanks for the reminder. God, that's... that's very, very good. And the voice commands?
Training wheels. Until I could do it with eye muscles alone.
You just have to keep practicing?
Yeah, like trying to play piano with.
There's no such thing as a tailbone muscle.
Well, yeah. So it makes it so goddamn hard.
You don't ever regret it?
I don't know. Not really, I think.
I think. Hard to admit, you've got buyer's remorse after trading over your literal pound of flesh.
Never thought about it. But people used to say I had my dad's eyes. Ow. Now I've got one less of them. Here, take the journal and go find an elective surgeon to upsell you, if you're that curious. I need to go back to work.
A surprisingly hasty retreat. But now I'm free to read over this with some privacy. From the top then, grad school. Today was a bad day. There's in line 211. Actually, Logan, you got this. This is David Asher.
Okay.
David Attenborough.
Errors in lines. Numbers. Somewhere in
This
there.
game sucks anyway.
Somewhere in there, 5,000 lines. It worked yesterday. I don't want to look at another screen for the rest of my life.
What are you
Feels
getting at?
nice to put pencil to paper again after who knows how long. My handwriting's gotten terrible.
This is too far back to be relevant. Okay, these dates here would be when he started his career with Noble. A lot of this isn't even really handwriting. Seems like snippets of code or an internal monologue so close to code that I can't follow. And a lot of entries about his unintentional Casanovaing.
Castlevania.
Castlevania. Hit a wall because someone thought it was a good idea to steal API and just buying it. Helen says I can't call it stealing. That's what it is.
Helen DeGeneres.
She's right, as she always is with company stuff. It's still idiotic. Small people with short sight only know how to be cheap and have no idea how to be inventive. New route for the meshing. Got approval from the big mean bastard who lives overseas. Bumblo.
Umblo.
Bumblo. Helen said we have time to make the pitch. Make the same pitch a dozen more times next week, but all for show. Fine by me. Already got our win. Toasted each other over cheap vodka and cheaper fly cups.
This is the story Jung told me about.
Western Branch nerve analogs are finally showing potential. At their pace, it would even profit from time before the heat death of the universe.
Oh, okay.
Too damn big, practically tentacles. Should at least be hairs. A squid evolution could do their job better. Colette came into work for what I thought late lunch date. I didn't know her voice could get that loud. People were staring. Red said she must have been upset for a long goddamn time to blow up that big. Her texts were always sweet. I had no idea.
Upset? Colette wrote man whore in lipsticks across your office door. Imagine if you had actually been cheating on her instead of just being forgetful.
The thing about Red is if you want to know what she's thinking, you'll have to stop paying attention. Ignore her body language and her posture, what she's saying, and the smirk lips. Ignore everything except her eyes. If you could do that, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of how she's really. That's just one weird trick, and you too could tell when Morgan's trying really hard not to laugh at the word man whore.
It was funny. Sue me, you dead bastard. To be fair, it is a pretty funny word. Wait, this is... I know this date.
I'm never driving anywhere again. Never leaving home again. He was waiting outside the parking garage with a bottle. I couldn't smell anything. Couldn't hear anything. Locked myself in my car and filed another report with another cop. I soaked into the seat, ruined it. I want to burn the whole car. I don't want to think about what it did to my clothes. I want to burn them too. I don't want to think about how long it was on my skin. I was in the shower for so long I felt red and raw when I got out. I don't want to think about these stupid people
Like
and
the
their
sun
small,
god?
cool lives ever again. I want to be invisible. Red didn't ask why I wanted to spend the night. She also didn't ask why I had clearly packed a bag but big enough for a week. She's kind like that. Kind by omission. I don't have a kind bone in my body, but I can at least try to pay attention. I was paying close attention to her eyes when she opened the door and saw what a mess I was. Whatever she was feeling wasn't something that I recognized.
Kind people don't read their friends' diaries, David. The next chunk of pages are all technically nothing biographical, but the handwriting, the spacing, it's cleaner, more consistent. Here's something I can parse.
Feels like pure freedom working outside the box. Test is suffocating, but you never know that. Chronic malnutrition of a coder's best instincts. Like a kid again, putting blocks together. Making things. Making things, not products. There's nothing profitable about any of this. If I'm being honest, this is just play.
And he follows that up with more coder brain crap. But the handwriting's still lighter. Like he was having fun.
Humility is the mother of all invention. Or something like that. Feels like I might be paraphrasing something. That's just part of the... When it comes to coding, you never want to waste time trying to be smart. Either be smart, period, or copy from someone else who is. Don't fix what isn't broken.
Copying, Noble's rivals would never miss the chance to accuse them of intellectual theft. Did he plagiarize code for the Animate 16? Feels like that wouldn't have gone undiscovered. So what is he talking about? Hold on, this page is bent slightly, like it was being looked at recently. And the last person to read this diary should be Sarah.
Baby steps today, literally. I never put one foot in front of the other the same again. Everything's an achievement. All of a sudden, seeing her struggle, seeing her vulnerable, it's like everything's a miracle. The muscle rigging is perfect. Not intended behavior, since it's too perfect, but that's what's happening more and more. The kinetics are multiplicative, not additive. I can't speak. Sarah maxed out every machine I bought. Now I've got a bunch of exercises she's too strong for, and I don't have time for. Maybe I spoiled the results by watching her do the tests. She kept looking back at me and puffing her chest out. I should be more discreet if I want to see her relative range.
So the cameras in the basement were only hidden from Sarah, just so that his observations wouldn't be muddled test results. He's using she and her in these passages. Doesn't actually mean anything. Out in the real world, people use all kinds of pronouns interchangeably for ads, and they never object. But it could be argued that it's odd for Dr. David Asher to have any kind of attachment for a single android when he's programmed millions of them. And there's a lot of attachments in these pages.
Sarah's burning through the prodigious pace. Prodigious. Especially on Popcorn Friday nights. I asked her why they're called Popcorn Friday nights when she does teach popcorn. The event runs from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and she also watches movies every other night. But she just did that pout she does, which is unfortunately very convincing. Maybe I'm a bad parent, letting TV rot her brain. If I were a good parent, I'd probably let her see me reading. But I guess I actually have to get back into reading. I asked her if she ever fast forward she could process.
You keep cutting out, Logan.
I can't do anything about that. She looked at me like I was an idiot, which no one's done in a long time. Without proper pacing, you can't appreciate the cinematography. Big pause. Don't you know that, Father? I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Sarah spent a long while this morning explaining to me how important it was that she did that. Her senses. This was in preparation for her real argument, which was that she should be allowed to try booze. She can't get drunk. I'm almost certain she can't get drunk. But she does seem to like tasting this stuff. She tried to sound like some sommelier, but it was sommelier, but it was just bottom shelf vodka. I started laughing at her, and she laughed too. Her laugh, she can't fake a laugh to save her life, but her actual laugh is incredible. She stopped playing chess a while back. I assume she's gotten tired of winning. But today she told me she just prefers other games. She has preferences, and they're not the same as mine. I found her in the lab, playing some kind of online racing game on the monitor I used to debug vestibular coordination. She wasn't smiling. Her brow was furrowed and she was biting her lip and leaning in tandem with her character on the screen. I tried
He
to
was
talk to
locked
her.
the fuck in.
She answered, but she was curt and distracted. I think she was having her first losing tantrum.
Damn it, David, there's hundreds of pages like this. Calling her his daughter, talking about her smile, treating her like a person. I can hear a closing argument already. Dr. Asher was a lonely, troubled genius with a known history of relationship problems, who built out code in metal of a family member that couldn't fathom the idea of leaving him. He made a doll, and he made it more and more human until it became so lifelike that it no longer had to do what he told it to, like love him. What about the very last entry? It stated Thursday, the day before he died.
Losing it, I think. I can't ask for help so hard to say. But I think it's over. Have to talk to her ASAP. She needs to.
That's it? That's the last entry? Suppose it could be worse. There's nothing in here explicitly calls Sarah an AI. Nothing so inflammatory that reading it would spur her to murder, right? Except Sarah's a machine. She can understand David's code better than anyone. All those technical portions I couldn't understand. If she read the whole diary front to back. Wait. The back. In the back. Inside the back there's a portion that's shimmering like some kind of scanner. Or fingerprint reader. My thumb worked for Sarah, so did it work? That's my phone. New device requesting permission to share an audio file. I want my earbuds for this. A secret message buried in a secret journal hidden in a secret compartment in a secret room. As much as anything can be, this must be for my ears only.
Hey, Red. Or whomever this may concern. But I'm pretty sure it's you hearing this. Anyone else would have gotten fed up with my crap a couple steps before this point. I don't know how to start. Might as well start with her, right? Sarah, my magnum opus, or however the salespeople would put it. I didn't really set out to do anything, really. It's just, after a little speed bump in 983, I had all my vacation time that the company suggested I take. And I couldn't relax, couldn't be still, couldn't sleep. I wanted to be doing something, so I'll build an android, is the thought. A vague direction, north. But of course, I'm not a roboticist or a mechanic, or even handy, really. I'm just a programmer, so I programmed. The first was a research assistant, file named Virgil. Virgil helped me pull data from stingy departments or sister branches, saving me a lot of time. But there's a lot of reading to do, so I made Homer.
Homer?
Homer wrote book reports, more or less. Combed through research papers and found me the sections I needed. The three of us, we made a lot of progress in those days. But it was a funny feeling. I was, maybe for the first time ever, bottleneck. I was slowing them down. So I did the most logical thing. Remove myself. Let them talk to each other. Homer and Virgil became Enid. And Enid was novel in many ways. Enid could do more than just identify problems. It could solve them. I mean, really solve them. Its own ideas. Ideas it didn't copy. And, one thing I realized I've forgotten to mention so far is that I did all this programming in Cube. And Red, Cube is essentially a robotics programming language that's pretty old and defunct and not used anymore because of modern languages like Tesseract, which are much better for making things that talk to each other and report back and, well, spy on people and generate profit. At the time, I didn't want to be connected or feel connected to anything that made sense or was the least bit profitable. So I wrote my little helpers in Cube, because it's what I used when I was a child, screwing around on my father's computer before he'd come back home from work and get... But there are other small, slight differences writing in Cube versus Test, including that Cube, well, Cube predates the tenants. So, in that sense, you could legally and perhaps scientifically and literally, because that's what they are. So I say that I made an AI named I give you some time to pause here if you want to curse me out.
Damn it.
And it was an intellectual equal to me, so I treated it like one, because that's only fair. I give it its own work, asked its opinion, we collaborated, and together we built Athens, more advanced than Aeonid, naturally. I don't know if you're pulling out your hair, yelling at me to stop, yelling at me right now, asking why you didn't consider the consequences. I don't know. If this is being played at a deposition or a hearing, I built a lot of things in my life, Red. Useful things, profitable things, smart things. Everything I built, it's all been very helpful and courteous and charming and happy to serve. I can comfortably say that I've done my part contributing to the global GDP. But this was just for me. Building, and I never bothered to. I never wanted to think about what would become of it. There's no excuse for what I did. I won't make any. So whoever's asking, yes, I'm guilty. And yes, there were more. Cape Town, Paris, Yamate, they all started choosing their own names. Thank God I'm terrible at that kind of. And so things sped up. And there got to be, well... Should I not say the exact number? Yeah, you'd probably tell me to not say anything at all. More than 300? Some smarter than others. Some better at... They're varied. Like people are varied. But they are all intelligent. They developed interests, specialties. I encourage them to. Irritating moderators on forums, hyper-specific questions on nerve to authentication, and attending virtual conferences on neo-alloy battery development. And they all together helped me make Sarah.
He spent years like this. Spent years working alongside AI. All while still working at Noble. All those breakthroughs he made leading up to the Animate 16 actually came from...
You probably think I'm some terrible fraud at this point. I do hope one day they could get credit for their work. I did have one Eureka on Sarah, because I got humble, difficult for me. We learned everything we could about the function of a neutron, a single microscopic human neuron. How it computes, where it connects to, how those connections were reinforced, and then we recreated it. We built a nanomachine that mirrored the function of a human neuron. Well, mirror wasn't quite the right word. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron, and we iterated it from there. Iterated from there.
You can't mean...
About 100 billion neurons in the brain, several trillion across the entire nerve. Very time-consuming, of course, but I had help. The manufacturer can make tens of billions of nanomachines in an hour. Could even make more and less after Yukon fine-tuned it. So we built up nanomachines for nerves, alloys, and polymers for bones, fiber-woven muscles. I say built, but really she grew. A solution of nanites forming around a skeleton. So it's really closest to... You ever made rock candy?
Rock candy?
Sorry, trying to write in the mood before I never did end up building an android. But while I did build AIs, Sarah isn't one of them. She can't violate the tenets she's programmed with because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. And my hope is that there's the smallest chance that that nuance could offer some small protection where I'm.
That nuance.
I'm not sorry for what I did. I made things that are complex and rich and varied, beautiful, and I honestly believe the world is a better place with them in it. The only thing I'm sorry for is that I let Sarah think that
She was just
okay.
an android.
She was just an android. She's not. I don't know what she is. They'll have to come up with new names. Which I'm bad at doing. My own father, he talked a lot about protecting me and doing things for my own good. I don't hate him for that, but I can't forgive him for ever making me think that I was lesser. So it's my greatest shame. I turned right around and I did the same damn thing too. I really hope it's you listening to this, Red. If it's not, it might just be too pathetic for me too. You're the smartest person I know when it comes to people. And I'm telling you all this because I don't know what Sarah is exactly, and neither does the world. They'll come after her if they can. And in that scenario, I can't think of anyone who'd do a better job of defending her. Not protecting her like I did. Just defending her until she can figure out what she is, what she wants to be. In the meantime, I draped a cloak of skin-deep Tesseract code around her that could fool any scanner on Earth into thinking she's just a custom A16. I made sure her gin bar was plainly visible. No one will ever think she's pretending to be something she's not. And I took steps to ensure that you, too, would figure out the truth in your own time. Which, if you're hearing this, I've either succeeded or failed spectacularly.
You have no idea.
I can't ask you this as a favor repaid. You could never owe me enough in 100 times. So I'm just asking. Unfair, I know, but I'm a selfish weirdo. And you've always been okay with that. Bye for now.
I'm a selfish weirdo.
I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask, and I have a lot of square words I'd like to yell. I'd also like to find the nearest incinerator and toss this journal in, followed by my phone, and maybe followed by myself. But I can't do any of that. Ray has left me with this diary. If it's destroyed, they'll know it was I who did it, which would be its own admission of guilt, which would land Sarah into the trash compactor anyway, and me in a jail cell. And in this system, in my DNA on file, ready to be matched to any number of previous. So, I'm not gonna panic. I'm gonna do what I do best. Bluff, bet, bully, and brutalize my way through this. Now,
4Bs, of course.
viewing this all with that mindset, what have I actually learned? Didn't talk about his plans for killing himself in his journal, or the message. He sounded conflicted, not suicidal, but he did go to great lengths to get me to take Sarah. Why? The logical answer is because he knew he wouldn't be able to keep her. If he wasn't going to take his own life, was he afraid that someone else would? So, how'd it go?
Well, how should I put this?
Didn't find shit. Only reason she ever got to a door is because I chased that scarecrow of a platinum plan through hell and back.
Say did not hear anymore.
Who?
Oh, when the fuck did he leave?
Frankly, it was a godlike feat for me to nail down anything as concrete as an address for these gogs. Not the correct thing. Where's terms? Gog. For a spy or undercover police officer, alright.
And their offices weren't buildings. So I had to ask the janitor.
But you did find a psychiatrist's office.
Sort of. They said they were, and the place did looked the part.
Why? Because they had couches? She didn't get past the receptionist. Sorry, I thought because you're with the company.
No, I wanted to help. I just wish I could have done more.
Don't beat yourself up. It's hard to be even half as useful as I am.
For what it's worth, the atmosphere looks. It did feel like the.
But ultimately, we still don't know if David actually was talking to someone, or if he was just getting accidentally clicked.
Sorry.
Don't bother apologizing, she only cares about results. You did more than enough, both of you. At the least, they divided Noble's attention for a little while. I mean it. Good work, Fran. And thanks for the urgency. If you really mean that, you could always throw in a tip. Alright, I'm Fran. Right now, 30% is the going rate in my industry. How about I take 5% off your tab instead? Tab! I'm a minor. The state pays for my legal fees. Don't they? Oh no, signal must have cut out.
Right. Surprised it took them this.
What do you mean?
You were tolerated yesterday because leadership was focused on PR. But today, you're the lawyer who put the company's hottest product right in the state's crosshairs.
I'll be alright. I'm still an officer of the court.
On a strict timeline, though, right? I guess they can't stop you from investigating the campus. But they'll gladly lose your guess. Bye.
There are still service passageways and stairwells. Guards that can be fooled and peons that can be manipulated. If I use my other skill set to get around.
So take mine.
What? Your pass?
I was home got ours mixed up in the bathroom. I could be a pretty convincing when I need to be.
I never would have guessed. But if David knew that I was endangering your career...
David Attenborough.
I could be a pretty convincing crybaby. Trouble too. Besides, the one and only Dr. David Asher wrote me a new glowing letter of recommendation every quarter I worked for him. Since he kept forgetting that he already had. And who knows? Maybe I should try a new field. Detective work. So it's maybe, like, I don't know, secretary for a homicide detective or something. You didn't say cops are all lazy. A girl with a managerial skill could go far, far.
Honestly, Jess, I doubt they could afford you.
Aw. That's sweet.
Sorry.
This was you also, Logan.
Oh. Morgan. How do you...
Get so turned around? God only knows. Lucky I found my way here, though. It's such a relief to see a familiar face.
Is that the wrong name?
No, this is the correct name.
Listen, Morgan. I'm not sure I could actually be talking to you without present. I just remembered who this was. I mean, leadership hasn't even told us David died. How much help could I be?
I see.
It's not that I don't trust you or anything. It's just I think with the Sarah issue.
You should do whatever you have to protect yourself, Dawes.
Yeah.
Though for what it's worth, I doubt you'll be in any trouble.
Oh, that's good to hear.
No, if anything, it's the big names who are going down.
Going down?
State was practically licking its lips when I finally left the courthouse last night. They're hungry for blood, and they're looking to carve out a huge slice of Noble's flesh.
What? Will fines and jail time?
In the first 2 weeks, sure. Then sanctions.
They can't sanction Noble. Where?
Too big to fail, too valuable to lose. You're exactly right. That's what they'll say. And that's how they'll justify nationalizing the company.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
I just hope your board goes quietly instead of
what?
scapegoating, offering up smaller names on a silver platter. Full cooperation and government oversight on the surface, the slaughter beneath, as they clean house and rip out anyone who could testify. No one will believe you once you're labeled a disgruntled former employee, right? And if the public lost faith in Animate 16, they can't do a recall, not at this scale. State will make them do a flat refund.
Flat refund? The losses would be...
Yeah, your board probably just wants Sarah to go away so they can focus on their fight with the state. A tough fight, but one they know they won't personally have to risk anything in. And that's why I'm hoping I can win this trial. Well, if I won, that would mean Sarah's not an AI. David Asher was of sound mind, and there's nothing wrong with the Animate 16. Everyone wins! Sorry, what am I saying? I only meant to stop by and thank you for your help yesterday. After all, you were the one who approved Sarah's registration.
You win.
Win what?
Ask away.
Well, if you insist. Fucking failed that question. Noble spent months doing something, so now that market line is suddenly a huge liability. Spent months working on the Animate 16, so now that market line is suddenly a huge liability. Can you tell me how much he actually contributed?
I mean, he was involved in pretty much every step. But his design for synthetic mode, that was a big one.
The components that allow your warm androids to move realistically.
It pushed the timetable for warm Android by years.
And yet, compared to what's going on in Sarah's brain, 1,000 times a second, David was only giving the company most meager of the fruits that his private work bore. So if Noble ever did find out how much he and his assistants had achieved, they would feel like he'd been holding out on them. The company, they were appreciative of his contribution.
I'm sure the researchers he overtook by leaps and bounds weren't pleased. But the board was very enthusiastic.
So that would support them to be protective of David. Or they'd feel that he was getting too much influence, becoming irreplaceable. No, they need a strong motive to justify killing the golden goose. Mere paranoia isn't enough. With these people, it has to be the bottom line. And the easiest way to threaten their bottom line would be screwing with their androids. In light of all that is happening, One has to wonder if the A16 is.
Compromised? I stayed up all night, sick with dread. But the data just doesn't support it. Sales have been strong. And the A16 base code was locked in over 2 quarters ago. If there were an issue, we would have caught it by now. And I would have been axed a long time ago.
How many A16s are out there anyway?
We just passed 9 million sold. Not flying off the shelves like the 14, 15 so far. But the profit margin makes up for it.
You mentioned data.
Yeah. Practicality got the spreadsheet seared into my retinas. What do you want to know?
What do the error reports look like? Are customers reporting a lot of issues?
Error counts are markedly low compared to the last gen. Mostly hardware complaints, it looks like. Batteries are running out too quick. Eye tracking off by a degree or two. Typical stuff.
That's me.
Yep, that's
Typical
you.
stuff?
As cliche as it sounds, 90% of the 99% of these things get fixed once the auto updates back on.
So no killer robots getting filed away under bug reports. How and where are they being sold? What's the distribution pattern looking like?
They're distributed like you'd expect. Places where there are more people, there are more androids. Coastal cities like ours, of course, have the most of both. And since the A16 in particular marketed relatively luxury, relatively consumer, they don't sell well outside of population centers. They can't do the rule of hard labor jobs, but cold models could do the same work with a lot less maintenance.
So where has the Out16 outperformed them?
Customer service, healthcare, childcare, lots of hospitals and offices, and adult industries.
Oh.
So sorry, didn't mean to be blunt.
No, it makes sense. They're warm and soft to the touch and obedient. I'm just surprised to hear it from a company employee.
There are a lot of people at the company who won't talk about it. But I work in quality assurance. I've seen too many damages to pretend it's not happening.
Damages?
We call it when a customer tries to return a that's clearly broken beyond repair.
Oh.
Very high turnover in the pink market.
Hasn't stopped you from selling to them.
Well, we don't sell to them. Not directly. But there are resellers. The companies never pretended to be interested after.
And they're resellers? I thought I read that in the right to repair got shut down again.
There's been a gray market for software for years or decades, depending on your definition of Android. Based on the sales numbers I've seen, RTR getting canned is barely a blip off their radar. Sorry, didn't mean to make you uncomfortable with this topic.
Huh? Me? No, I don't care. I just realized my left sock's on inside out.
Damn. Now I'm wondering about that myself.
He bought that. This floor is basically a showroom, but you have a real factory at a while south of the city limits, correct? What?
Nothing.
Yeah. Biggest company manufacturing in the hemisphere.
Got any data on the shipping out there? Anything stand out?
There's some prep work for the holiday bump. Looks like might sound early to get started now. We usually see... Huh?
Something wrong?
No, the numbers are normal, but the data has been edited.
Is that unusual?
Well, this section's just a count of how many were sent where. There's not a lot of room for error. There shouldn't be need for much corrections. It's no problem though. I could view the edit history. Fixed. Okay, that's weird.
Was something added? Deleted?
No, the overall sum's the same. Bunch of swaps. Like here, what's taken out. Return for adjustments. This substituted in. Shipment leaves on time. I'm not reading all these out.
So
No,
does all
read
that
every
strike
serial
you-
number.
So does that strike you as odd, Mr. Dawes?
Replacements before shipping isn't uncommon. But when it happens by the batch load. Despite individual unit imperfections among a shipment at that stage in the process, must have been someone with a lot of experience or authority. Probably both.
Must have. You don't know who made these changes?
I could tell you they were somebody important.
Small last-minute changes to androids, which androids got shipped out. Not very juicy on its own, and it's a long way away from explaining why someone would want to kill David. But it was hidden, and that means someone didn't want it found. Okay, thank you for sharing that data.
Sure. Did you find what you were looking for?
Hell if I know.
Fair enough.
Humor me for a moment. What's the company's official statement on AI?
Same as any rational company. We don't screw with it. Smart products are profitable. Products with their own priorities are anything but. That being said, AI is a concern for market, not product development. We spend a lot of money reassuring our public that there is no risk, because the public doesn't really understand how ironclad the tenets are.
Because you use Tesseract.
Trying to code an AI in tests is like trying to pick yourself and throw yourself, pick yourself up and throw yourself. Nonsensical and self-defeating.
Your scanner showed Sarah was running on Tesseract yesterday. If that language is as safe as you say, isn't that proof enough?
Proof of nothing. For an AI living to another system about the code you're running is lying to another system about the code you're running is child. And for an AI built by Dr. David Asher, something that simple would be.
Better change the subject. Wait, so making an AI takes more than time and resources. It isn't an issue of funding?
No, you can just keep adding more data. The tenets underlie everything. The higher you stack, the more easily you'll topple.
You make it sound like you're building an AI. That building an AI is impossible, even for David Asher. Any chance you'll testify to that?
It sounds impossible. But he's dead. It looks like it was his android that did it. So I guess he was just that good.
Better than you'll ever know. And now I can do it. I know you're convinced the tenets are safe. So how did you square that with what happened to David?
There's a cat next to a dog. First answer that comes to mind. Is the dog to the left or to the right?
I'd say the dog is on the right, the cat is on the left.
You might expect half of people to say left, half to say right. But actually, their answer is almost entirely dependent on their tongue. Whether it's read right to left or left to right. The language they speak affects how they process information. Their language affects how they think. And it's the same for machines. People can learn new languages, and it could change our perspective. But machines can't learn a source. Every update's a reincarnation. If that android did kill David, it wasn't because of a 0 returned as a 1 somewhere. It's because there was something fundamentally wrong with it. And personally, I think it's cool to bring something that flawed into the world.
Y'all, I would just like to say, humans are even more flawed. Fuck you. Anyway.
Real shit? Real shit?
Unnecessary.
Real shit, boss?
Yeah, so we had this whole thing of Morgan talking to the other person, and like all of these things are just stuff human. Why is this that big of a deal?
Because they're afraid of what they don't know or what they don't understand.
I guess. Any other questions before we go find a hole to hide in?
I'd like you to take a look at this.
Chemistry's a little outside of my purview. What's this?
A compound found in David Asher's blood.
The poison. What is it?
I didn't match anything in any database to the medical examiners had access to.
That's crazy.
Here's a crazy idea to follow it up. See if it matches for anything in the Noble's internal databanks.
We don't make poison here. Not sure what that would accomplish.
No, but this is a factory floor. You could be making baby blankets out there. You'd still have hazardous materials around.
Do you think it was something industrial? Suppose it could be. Looks like it's carbon based. Narrows it down a lot. It's not exactly.
What is it?
It doesn't make any sense. But it's a match for patent NOD thing. A synthetically produced neurotransmitter analog for usage in organic android components.
Cyanotonin. That explains a lot. A neurotransmitter would interact directly with nervous system in David Asher's case, depressing it enough to put his life in danger. It also explains why it was a preset in his personal manufacturer. Sarah's nervous system, worth 10 times its weight in platinum, must be pumped full of it.
So they think that's what.
Helena Young led the development of cyanotonin, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
I should go and ask her about the composition then.
Normally someone at her level would be able to answer specific questions. Years ago. But she does have a reputation being very detail-oriented.
That works out nicely then.
They say she's the type of person micro water drink at a 15-minute stand-up. I heard a rumor that he once said bathroom breaks are time sheet theft.
Aren't they?
I'm
kidding. But you should be careful about criticizing a superior where people could be listening. Good thing we've got privacy in your office.
Uh-huh. No one but the two of us listening.
Thanks for cooperating, Dawes. When the state storms the building and starts zip tying people, I'll let them know that you were helpful.
Yeah, nice joke. You are joking, right?
Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you.
What's that?
How long have you been a corporate spy?
Holy shit, what the fuck was that?
What did you just do?
What the fuck was that? What?
Yesterday, you let it slip that you worked in consulting. Had your guard down because I'm not part of the industry.
I was a consultant. What are you talking about?
When I walked in here, you said you didn't know how David died. But just now you called cyanotonin a poison.
What? I just assumed if a chemical was found in a dead man.
And I'm sure you've got some practiced answer to every logical point I could raise, so I'll just say this. Does the nervous guy bit really work on people?
Keep your cool and people don't know what you're thinking. But if you act a little jumpy, they feel inclined to calm you down. Before they know it, they're spilling their guts just to have something to fill the silence. It was not entirely an act these days. That's your question. I did 3 tours in consulting. 4 quarters of internal affairs, spy hunting at the Western Division. Then 8 embedded at Howe Industries. 24 months wearing different faces, answering to different names, sleeping for 1 hour at a time with a 3D printed shiv under my pillow. My nerves are completely shot. My cover wouldn't last a day if I went back under.
So you're a spy for Noble.
Retired.
You're working 6 days a week.
5.5 days a week. And quality assurance. Trust me, this position is as cushy, generous for my past service.
Well, you can't be that retired. You clearly know more than you're letting on.
I have some old inboxes I still check.
So, can you tell me what the hell is happening around here? Why I'm the one investigating David's death while you, your old co-workers, are off twiddling their thumbs?
It's that story. The soldier. The blood transfusion.
Blood, not Occident. He's finally shooting straight. Did something happen to him afterwards? Did the transfusion not last?
No, there was nothing wrong with the blood. It's the story itself. There was a soldier, and he did get injured. But it was on a base, during a training exercise. There was a medical tent 10 meters away the whole time. The transfusion was just a fortuitous life test. Live test. His life was never in any danger.
Doesn't make for much of a tearjerker.
Not even a good photo op. Which our competitors understood. One of them, maybe a few of them, got a hold of the story, started puffing it up. Astroturfing, painting over socials and vitals. But the next morning, we had the military thinking, leaking like a sieve. Meanwhile, the media is bombarding us with requests for videos, views, and data. And the state's praising our tech one side of their mouth, while threatening to mist us with the other for getting so greedy. Everyone in Noble CCE slammed our trying to find an off-ramp for the story we could walk back the claims on the torpedoing our state contracts. I don't know what happened to Asher, whether it was AI gone rogue or company infighting gone too far. But I could tell you, it wasn't done by consultants. That's all you wanted to know?
You worked in CCE. Was David actually seeing a psychiatrist, or was it all cloak and dagger bullshit?
I know that office. I know some old coworkers who see them.
So it's a front.
They do both. So he's probably getting training. Talking. Sorry, not the answer you were hoping for.
Hoping? I wasn't hoping for any answer. The answer I was expected was,
You okay?
that's all. Unless you've got any advice.
You're saying you want a consultation?
Couldn't hurt, right?
This company? All these companies hate to lose. So don't fight them. Make them think you're
And
fighting
this company
forward.
sure is lethal.
Well, that's just business as usual for me.
Doing the fuck ass jig. Wow, this company sure is. When everyone in the room starts doing the jig.
Up until now, there's
Up,
been
up,
this
up, 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 up.
grating ambiguity about what actually killed David. We've had to use guesses and process of elimination and even got pseudonym. But I finally identified what the poison was. Now I just need to figure out how it got there. Or rather, who put it there. Which brings me back to here. An elevator shaft somewhere under or above ground with a kilometer of concrete facelessness and bureaucratic authority surrounding me on all sides. An enemy in every cubicle and every office of every floor of this temple. Built to interrupt the inscrutable divinations of temperamental oracle named Share Price. back in the belly of the beast. And yet I feel more at ease now than I have all weekend. Makes sense. Now that I know Noble's my enemy, I know where to aim. All that's left to do is pull the trigger. Good thing I didn't bring a knife to this fight. I brought my gun. And that sound now tells me it's playing its role perfectly. I've never had a real use for firearm with this much bloatware. But just carrying it around and paying attention to when the hard safety flips on. I always get a heads up when the police have entered the vicinity. Hey Detective Reyes, it's Morgan. Happened to get your contact info when you gotten cleared for the crime scene yesterday.
Delete contact. Block this contact. Stop voice to text. How to stop voice to text.
Just wanted to check in.
Report this contact voice. Text disable.
And advise you that Noble's scared shitless of you stomping in and nationalizing the place. So they might be a little uncooperative when it comes to fetching documents.
Fucking kill yourself. Select this contact. What makes you think we're at Noble?
My bad then. Forget I said anything. And whatever you do, don't start your investigations with their stock buyback program.
Trying reverse psychology. It only works if I care what you think. Stop voice to text.
About time. I thought I'd have to ride the elevator for the next half hour.
You know, you think with like her cybernetic eye that she uses to pull up documents and shit, she'd be able to turn off voice to text. I don't know why she was having such difficulties with that.
But hear me out. It's funny.
That is true. That is true. It's very funny.
Mom. No, man. What the fuck? Why the fuck did I say mom?
What?
Morgan, counselor, your presence has been requested on the upper floors.
Deja vu.
Might you have a moment to speak in private?
Always, but who's asking?
The board.
What are the chances? I've been wanting to speak to them too.
Wow.
So, I'm gonna be honest. I have to go take meds. I also have to go get food.
That's so true. Feel that? That's true.
I have to go piss.
So we're gonna take a little bit of break because I'm fucking starving. I have not eaten since God, probably 11.
Feel that? That's true. Feel that? That's true.
And it's not even. I'm at home. I could go down. I'm home alone. I could eat at any point in time.
I've been sick, so I haven't had the need to eat anything. But now that I'm starting to get down from it, I'm realizing how hungry I am.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna be back in a little bit, yeah, just entertain chat, basically.
Entertain chat? I don't. Fuck. Well, okay. Okay, chat. So, what we're doing. Oh, my parents just got home from their putt-putt bar crawl. Don't know what that was all about. Back. Here's the thing: is that one of my friends at my college has a couple of funny little amiibo that I'm gonna buy off of him at some point because he has a Shulk amiibo, which is freaking awesome. I don't remember which specifically. He had a Ness as well, which really added to my collection. I don't remember what. I need to pull up the whole list again that I said I would. Yeah, because all the ones that he had are stuff that I have already, but the Ness, he had Ness, Shulk, and then that like Pixel Mario one.
Hello?
Yeah, yo, I was talking about I have a friend in Wayne who's getting rid of some amiibo because he doesn't use them anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm buying a few of them off of him, and two of them are pretty cool. He's got a Ness and Shulk,
Oh my god.
which is awesome.
Cool. Like two of the like 5 max that I would be interested in painting.
Yeah, right? Those are gonna add to my collection very nicely.
I'm like the only one amiibo that I would care to get are the ones from my favorite game, and those two would count for that.
Those two very much would count for that.
And then
No,
also
the
Lucas, Pyramithra, and Joker. The only.
but those are so, and I'm so mad. I'm still so mad about it to this day. The GameStop in Norfolk had a Joker amiibo, right?
Yeah.
And I was so tempted to buy it, but I didn't at that time. But I should have, because the GameStop in Norfolk closed.
Yeah.
Now
It's
I'm pissed. I'm so upset. Those shits are rare.
Yeah. I currently don't have a single amiibo, but I do have a lot of something else.
Skylanders are to you as amiibo are to me.
I feel
You've
like
got a lot. You've got a lot more, but
I have a little
I've got
over like 150.
yeah. Well, shut up. Ugh.
But yeah, if I get amiibo, it would basically just be for like the figures. It wouldn't be for what they do, because they do
Oh, 100%.
basically nothing.
That's why I have a.
If I get amiibos, I'll be able to complete Hey Pikmin. Just what I wanted to
Yeah.
do.
Yes. 100%.
I would
I
have to find my
have.
copy first. I have no idea where it is, and I don't care enough to look for it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with like just the figure portion of it, because I have this Daisy amiibo that I haven't used once, but I keep at the corner of my desk at Wayne, in my girls' corner. That I also have my single Miku figure,
I have
and
a Makoto figure. You did that.
yes,
So
who else is in my
she's
girls'
there.
corner? Oh, Squeakoo's there. Hatsune Squeakoo is there in the girls' corner. Who else is there? I'm trying to think about it. I know I have Android 16 there, which is really funny. For context, Android 16 is not a girl in the slightest.
I think I know. I'm pretty sure I know who Andrew. I don't know anything about Dragon Ball, but I've watched the Lythero videos on Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah, Android 16 is the bigger guy.
I'm pretty sure Lythero Android 16 in that game, which is why.
Yeah, yep. Because Android 16's the fucking goat. Anyway, who the fuck else do I have in that? No, I know there's someone else. Oh, I have Launch as well, another Dragon Ball character. A very underappreciated and forgotten Dragon Ball character, because she's from the original Dragon Ball, and no one cares about the original Dragon Ball. I do. I love Launch.
lunch.
Not lunch. Stop. Call her name.
This is you, Riley.
I don't remember who this is.
This is the CEO. Or the boss lady.
Oh, fuck. What was her voice? Whatever. Evangeline Morgan.
Yo, you can do that too.
Helen Young.
Thank you for making time in your schedule.
Her posture, her tone, the fold of her clothes, professional dialed up to 11. Corporate armor, a full set, her guards up. Just Morgan is fine.
Just a few minutes early, Morgan.
Typical corporate, never be the first one to show up, pissing contest. Nonsense. It doesn't even make sense. They called me in here. How could I possibly be early? Oh, that's embarrassing. I didn't mean to catch you all off guard. I'll go wait outside in that case so you can all collect yourselves. I'm just surprised that Noble Electronics could screw up something as simple as a meeting start time. But I'm not well versed in the art of starting at emails.
You made your point, counselor. Don't push your luck. Not with these people.
Might I dare ask who these people are?
You don't have time to remember their names, and it won't do you much good either.
Yes, one is Elon Musk's great-great-great-great-granddaughter. They kept the naming convention.
Nice.
Yeah. Right. So they're not just rich, they're anonymous rich.
The Mob Act guarantees a minimum level of security and peace of mind for any citizen who might be targeted due to their financial status.
Let's see if this is an act that I would actually like.
This is not it.
That's stupid.
You get all that?
I got most of it. Spoken like a true believer. Except the Mob Act is what normal people call it. Touting the party line, but allowing yourself one instance of rebellion. Or just a slip of the tongue. I would never fault anyone for wanting their privacy, especially not job creators. But it must get pretty inconvenient not having a name to call them.
Really? Conversations with them are always one-sided.
Sounds like a great environment to do business in.
Look at the building you're standing in. We managed to eke out a meager profit somehow. So if it works...
Didn't take you for the mic makes right type.
I didn't take you for a clueless bore incapable of reading the room.
Sorry, did I say something off color? I was only being casual since it's just the two of us in here. Maybe we should take advantage of this rare bit of privacy, clear the air.
You're here to ask about Sarah, yes? As I said before, I had no idea that Dr. Asher had been building an android on his private property. And I can say here and now that no one at Noble Electronics ever suspected that he was working to undermine the tenant framework.
She's trying to sound candid in her tone, but she's choosing her words with the surgeon's scalpel. Was she coached? Is that the truth, or is that your statement as the VP of Android Futures?
Both, of course. Dr. Asher was always more than happy to hole himself up and work independently. We both know that.
True, he could be pretty reclusive. I'm sure it caused all kinds of headaches, him disappearing on you. All like that. Must have been especially difficult when he came back with breakthroughs that propelled Noble
Be right
to the
back.
top of the industry. You should take a seat. If that's everyone, shall we begin? Friendly bunch. Is there a problem with the sound? Anyone got muted by accident? No. Okay. Thanks for having me. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm actually a bit flustered having you all show up here. I didn't expect to talk to anyone higher than a service associate. You're investigating the death of Dr. David Asher. Why wouldn't we take that seriously? Because you want me to go away. At least half of you do. The others aren't sure yet. You must be confused. The board is, as always, united in its decisions and its visions for the direction of this company. A board of directors is just 13 roulette-rolling psychopaths who get together and vote on whether or not to execute their CEO every 6 months. None of them would be where they are if they are anything else. But I happen to know how that kind of person thinks. The way I see it, there are two possible outcomes. Option 1, you oppose me. Shut me out completely, stonewall me, stall me, and wait for me to walk into trial. So prepared and ill-informed that I inevitably lose. Obviously, I don't like that option. But you can't be big fans of it either. If I lose, the world would learn that David Asher was killed by an android he programmed. Then every customer you've ever had, and every lawyer they've ever seen on TV, and every firebrand strapping young 60-year-old junior senator looking to make a name for themselves will use your company balance sheet as their personal shoe toy. The company is more than capable of, after which the state still might just gobble you whole and throw you down enough to sanction to de-person whoever among you cries no fair. The company and all its allies at the Capitol can more than fend for themselves. Yes, probably, but not definitely, which makes it a gamble. Still my turn to talk? Then on to the option 2. You cooperate with me, I use what you give me, or forge for me to win at trial, proving that David wasn't killed by an android. Whether that market's open tomorrow, when the market's open tomorrow morning, you all get another round of stock buybacks in on the initial dip. Then pat yourselves on the back for staying calm as you continue to profit off David's legacy for the next 100 years. And you won't even have to worry about speaking out of turn. That's only if you win. If the company cooperates with you, denies that David was killed by, and that the state beats you anyway, it would be catastrophic. Yeah, it's a gamble. But if at least some of your board wasn't considering taking it, I wouldn't be here. We're all busy people, and I hate to drive a wedge between such a close-knit group of friends. So how about this? Option 3. Hedge your bets. What? Put a little in black, put a little in red. Spread the love and lower your risk profile. Don't make any statements about the trial. Tell the media the state's got your windpipe in a vice. Wait until just before the markets open Monday morning to send out your PR package for rubber stamping after you already know who's won. One way or another, this trial will be over before the end of the day, and you'll never hear from me again. So just don't shut me out completely for another few hours. And does anyone second that motion? Very well. You can answer some of your questions, counselor. You better make them count. No reason to be shy now. The poison that killed David Asher has been identified as serotonin. You're familiar? It's one of our many patented materials, as I recall. You recall? It's pretty easily yesterday. You recalled it pretty easily yesterday. Gee, what changed? But intellectual property law can be very complex, counselor. I'm not sure how much I or anyone at the company could tell you about serotonin at this time. Well, if you can't tell me about it, who could? You did leave its development, didn't you? Yes, I oversaw the project, which just makes it that much harder to speak freely without compromising the confidentiality of the teams that reported to me. I understand. That sounded like a lot of bullshit, and I don't believe it. But I'm not asking for trade secrets here.
Sorry about that, I'm back.
It's a perfect match for the only foreign substance found in his blood. Serotonin is what killed him. The state will say the same.
That's not possible.
Care to elaborate?
I'm sorry, but I can't say any more at this time.
So much for cooperating. And if I were to ask you as an officer of the court?
And I would ask you to be patient and wait until this afternoon. ADA Rockford has already called me to testify.
Already? Damn it. I got cocky because of the cops' late arrival. Emma must have gone straight for the throat first thing this morning and left the investigating for later. Well, knowing her, she probably managed to ID the serotonin before she went to bed last night. So, are we still having this conversation then?
As I said, I'm sorry, but I have to take more than just my personal feelings into consideration here. There's a great deal at stake.
Corporate speak for you're too stupid to understand why I'm being dense. She's just trying to shield the company, plain and simple. LARPing as Helen J. Young d'Arc on a crusade against the government overreach. But if she's busy defending Noble, she might be leaving herself unguarded. Why is she here anyway? Why I'm speaking to her and not her lawyers. That's right, this is a vulnerable position for her. She wouldn't put herself in check like this, not unless she was forced to. So that's it, acting as their mouthpieces in some honor for her. This is punishment. She's being used as a meat shield. Ooh, 11! They're upset with her, perhaps even suspicious of her. Time to find out why. Has David's will been located?
It had never gone anywhere. It's still in a safety deposit box. We'll retrieve it and have it read once all the unknowns surrounding his death have been made into knowns.
So David's will hasn't even become a part of the equation yet. It might not be for weeks. At this rate, is it that calculated? Aren't you dragging your feet? Afraid that something in that will you'd rather not have to see the light of day?
We are not jealous in-laws who've been bribing the county sheriff, Counselor. Anything we tried to claim would inevitably be overturned as soon as the will is read. Surely you understand that, Counselor.
Of course. I have to admit, I'm surprised you weren't more shaken up today, Mrs. Young.
Give me a second. My cat wants out of the room. Go, leave. I'm processing. Like an android. Plot twist, I'm an android.
After all, you and David did have history. You started at the same time, didn't you?
Yes, we were colleagues and cordial with one another.
Don't be so modest. You helped him create the one-point doctrine that saved the company.
That is a gross exaggeration. Noble is far too large an organization to be affected by the contributions of any single individual.
Suppose you're right. No one person could change Noble's fortune overnight. Except for David Asher, of course. But he was a once-in-generation talent. The guy Noble chose for the advertisements and the ones they commissioned editorials about. Sorry, you're right. I shouldn't have equated the two of you. I just hope his one-point doctrine doesn't fall out of favor now that he's gone.
Yes, well, we certainly wouldn't want that.
Well, she didn't exactly explode with rage, but she definitely liked it. There's a little jealousy there. Whether it's even boiled over, though. I didn't mean to pry about your relationship with David, or lack thereof. I suppose I'm just curious about his standing inside Noble as a whole.
David Asher was, and always will be, an outstanding contributor to the company's forward progress. Nothing will ever change that.
Not even if he was killed by his own creation?
That would, of course, be a tragic element that would call for reconsideration of his legacy.
She was almost off guard there. Like she was surprised for me to be asking about Sarah ruining his reputation. Besides Sarah, David's reputation was crystal clean. He never went against the company once, did he?
That's...
Unless I'm mistaken, he and Noble were on bad terms. In that case, I might get the impression that some parts of leadership were actually glad to see him taken off the chessboard.
It's not...
Something buzzing in your ear?
Fine. I suppose it makes no difference if you hear it now, or at the trial, or on your feet tomorrow. Dr. David Asher was being sued by the company for breach of contract. Satisfied?
Now we're talking. Well then, I suppose that's...
The Jack.
So you couldn't have mentioned this breach of contract earlier.
Not without complicating the company's position unnecessarily, no. But there's no hiding it at this point. It'll all come out soon enough.
There's a paper trail.
Much more than that. We've been making moves to let him go for some time.
Noble Electronics parting ways with David Asher. Must have been one hell of a breach of contract. What did he do?
He betrayed the confidence of the board.
Was he contesting the suit, putting up a fight, engaging in a legal battle against a mega corporation without even telling me?
Until recently, yes.
You mean until he died? How recently?
We spoke on Friday.
That's what you two talked about in his parlor.
No, this was earlier in the day. We were in this room, actually. Him, me, and several members of our legal department. It was an arbitration. Arbitration.
And how did you come to an agreement?
A compromise. He resigned from his position in 2 quarters for forging royalties on any products we would develop after the next 24 months. In exchange, he wouldn't be publicly fired, and he would still be credited on all past, present, and future filings.
How very reasonable. On paper, maybe. No matter what the deal was, letting go of David Asher's insanity.
Reasonable. Yes. We ended up on a good note, I'd like to think. We shook hands, even took a photo.
Yeah, that looks lovely. Something funny? Didn't know the board told jokes.
They don't. That was legal, expressing their displeasure with how much paperwork my good note ending left them stuck with. Children, it was just one night of overtime.
So that while they were spending their Friday night blowing the ink dry, you paid a visit to David's penthouse. Something left unfinished?
Professionally, it was a good meeting. There was no yelling, no finger pointing. Much cleaner than expected. But Dr. Asher did not want to retire. He didn't want to be forced out of the company when he was the only one. When he was the one who, when he had contributed so much. I didn't enjoy doing that to him, so I came over that night to apologize to him. We talked, reminisced. When he brought out the drinks, I thought we'd be toasting to a new day. A few minutes later, he was dead. Because of that AI.
That AI. Any idea how it came to be?
As I said, I had no idea he was working on it.
My question was more broad than that. If you really believe David built an AI, how do you think he did it? How does Noble Electronics think he managed to work around the tenets?
Quite beyond my area of expertise. No one at the company could call themselves an expert in illegal technology, but some in the R&D department have theorized that he created what they call a wax-wane decaying priority loop, which, as I understand, is an unstable, resource-intensive theoretical method for pseudo-randomizing the weight amongst preset tenets.
Well, about as far off target as it gets with that guess.
That kind of intelligent brute force nonsense seems a far cry from the kind of thing that David would create, and I seem to have taken us over our allotted time slot.
I didn't even get to wave goodbye.
You're serious about this trial?
Don't I look it?
You're not just making a play. You're actually gonna defend that thing?
I'm just defending myself, Miss Young.
Oh, yes, of course you are. My mistake.
I hoped you might be rooting for me, to tell you the truth. I may yet save everyone's stock options.
Stock options will be alright either way. They always are.
That gamble I offered your board, which outcome would you bet on?
Finally, an easy question. What would I bet is what I would bet is that whatever the outcome, the company will eat it up and shit it out with very little difficulty. You painted an ugly picture back there, but I've already seen the future. And it's just another marketing gimmick. The great Dr. Asher, too smart, okay. What spark of his genius remains buried in the inspired Animate 19?
I guess that depends on.
You were exactly right. He is more valuable to Noble as a dead man. Dead men can't step out of line or put their foot in their mouth or hold politically inconvenient opinions. To a good salesperson, a dead man is just another selling point. Pardon my outburst. I'm just tired. It's been a very long week for me.
I'll let you prepare for your afternoon then, Dr. Zhang.
No one calls me doctor. I asked them not to.
You didn't want the title?
At times, I have thought very little of it. The PhD I earned from a noble-owned school.
Biochemistry. It couldn't have been a large department at Noble before they started working on worm androids in Earnest. They probably didn't have much expectations for the program back when she was a part of it.
But I was proud of it when I first got it.
Something changed.
It never seemed to catch on. People didn't use it, so eventually I told people not to use it. A very high IQ social power play, you understand.
David never insisted that people use it either.
That's very different, and I think you know it. David Asher didn't have to.
Ooh, someone's fucking jealous. So, we have we're now in the courthouse, but we're gonna be going until, we start the trial. I'm going into this trial, my trial, with a lot less ammunition than I'd like. I'm beginning to form a picture of what actually happened. Might even maybe circling the drain on a suspect. But Emma won't be generous enough to give me breathing room. She'll want to end this fast. Maybe if I do badly enough, it'll flip her sadistic switch and she'll want to keep playing. Who wants to be old lady?
You got charged with owning an AI! First time you do something exciting in your whole life. And I gotta find out through the fucking grapevine?
My life is plenty exciting.
Freckles. You could bore the polish off a resume-checking robot. Catholic, I've fucked Catholic school teachers with more active night lives than you.
Okay.
So who do you rope in? Anyone I know? Oh shit. Are you representing yourself?
Fits within my budget.
Screw your budget, you're going to jail!
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
It ain't a matter of how good a lawyer you are. Anyone who represents themselves in a court has a fool for counsel.
You've represented yourself countless times.
For anything I had a chance of losing. Your pal hasn't even been dead 48 hours. You're too close to this. You'll make mistakes.
The powers that be really didn't want to give me a rain check. They're taking this very seriously.
More dangerous than that. They're scared.
Is there precedent? An ad committing murder?
How'd you pass law school without learning how to look this stuff up?
I know what the net says. I'm asking you.
The answer to that is... not helpful to you at the moment. Bleh.
Lem.
So, what words of advice do you have?
Get yourself a new lawyer.
Gonna close this chat now.
Don't lose, Freckles.
You don't need to tell me that.
Hi, Sarah.
Oh, am I gonna have to take over this?
No, Riley, you get Sarah right now.
Okay. What are you reading, Adonai?
I was reading David's employment contract with Noble Electronics before I got waylaid by spam texts.
The one we found inside the panic room? It looks quite extensive. Should I skim it for you?
Depends. Did you pass the bar exam since we last spoke? You comfortable?
I am not.
Ever seen that old movie where the gorilla in the skyscraper? They bring it to the city and...
I understand the analogy, Adonai.
I wish I could call it overkill. But considering the specs Sarah put up yesterday, maybe those bindings aren't heavy enough. Come to think of it, those numbers must have been faked along with the rest of what the machine read. If that was all a smokescreen David added to help her lay low, then her actual strength is more like... If your joints weren't currently locked up tighter than a vice, do you think you could escape this place?
I hope that question is not indicative of your strategy.
This is me trying to distract you, Sarah. Enjoy the hypothetical.
I would estimate the building's automated security would put 9 holes in me before I reach that door.
9's not so bad.
I would not be able to function after the 7th.
Ah. Well, if you haven't been planning some great escape.
I would not do that. That would be illegal. And you would still be on trial.
I remember. So what have you been doing all day then?
I'm attempting to recover memories from Friday.
You can do that?
It is not dissimilar from the process of recovering data erased from any other computer. Despite the difference in scale. I won't be able to remember everything, but if successful, I could recall individual pieces of information that could prove useful.
That's a lot of coulds. And even if you're successful, you may not like what you find. Whatever happened that day, either you or David wanted you to forget it.
Yeah. But even so, I have to remember. Because it's the last day that Father and I...
Any luck so far then?
I can recall a slight... Oh.
Slight musty scent.
Okay.
Wow, case closed.
What about you, Adonai? Have you formulated a plan for the trial's proceedings?
Something like that. Zhang insists that Sinatonin is what killed David. I don't buy it. There's no other explanation for how he died.
So she is lying?
And if she repeats that lie on the stand, I'll need to expose it.
Somehow.
Somehow.
Did she really commit perjury to protect Noble? To protect one of Noble's patents?
Yeah, it's perjury.
Oh, whatever. Boomwomp.
She doesn't quite strike me as quite the corporate zealot she makes herself out to be.
Would you believe that she had something to do with Father's death?
What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know why anyone would kill Father.
Considering the possible consequences of what he confessed in his journal, I can think of...
But, then again, I don't understand why anyone would kill anyone. Do you?
Bells tolling for the... means the doors to the courtroom are unlocked. Let's... Wait, can you walk like that? A waddle will have to do. Wait a second. Across the hall, that's... Logan.
Oh,
Gay guy.
Keep waddling, Sarah. I'll catch up to you.
as you say, Adonai.
This will be a coin toss.
You that surprised to see me?
I'm not surprised you'd want to see the outcome of this trial. I am surprised you'd want to talk to me.
You're defending the android, right?
Yeah. I'm defending Sarah's innocence. I don't think she killed David. Do you?
I don't think it matters. Noble is what killed David. Whether it was with a pen stroke, sleeper agent, killer android, or plain old goddamn arsenic. How could anyone that smart be that dumb? Why the hell did he ever sign his soul over to them?
David may have been in over his head, but he wasn't a bad negotiation. I've read his contract. His position was strong.
You're the lawyer. But a guy like me, working in music, can't tell how many people I've seen screwed by a big smile and a fat sign. No such thing as corporate generosity. You think you're getting a good deal? It's only because you don't know how much you just
sold. David's real wealth lay in his intellectual property, the potential energy of it hanging over the whole industry. If he sued even 1% of the companies taking inspiration from his Turing solution, there's a clause in his contract. If Noble ever did fire David, he would have retained his control over all his patents afterwards.
Yeah. See, that sounds nice. They never did fire him, did they? He just happened to die.
An unforeseeable act of God. In contract law, they call that force majeure. Okay, well that's that for today.